All right, let's talk to Dr. Gary Banks now, who is a clinical psychologist. Gary, you've been following, obviously, the story like Australians all around the country. That's right. I guess the big thing that parents will be having to explain to their kids as they wake up to this news this morning is how can something like this, could actually happen? How could it happen in Australia?
I'm not sure that's a question that parents want to answer. They just want to say it has happened, and part of it is to then reassure their families that they are safe and that all is well and that life is going to resume back to normal as quickly as possible, and that's exactly what children need within the family system.
Gary, where does the healing process start now, the role of psychologists in trying to somehow, I guess, find a way to nurse these hostages back to a sense of normal life?
We can break our interventions into stages, and the first stage is early intervention, so immediate crisis support, and we talk about psychological first aid. We then, say, a couple of weeks to a month afterwards, start a more intensive counselling, debriefing process to assist people, and then obviously from there onwards monitor into the long-term period.
I've read reports from other people who've been in hostage situations saying that they've sometimes felt a sense of guilt that they have survived and one of the others, perhaps another hostage, has not. As we know, 2 hostages have lost their lives in this incident. Would some of the hostages who survived feel that guilt? How do they cope with that?
More than likely they're going to feel that guilt. I think anyone in that circumstance seeing the person next to them shot is going to feel that guilt as to why wasn't it me and I'm alive and they're not. So it's going to be a normal adult, a normal psychological reaction to a hideously abnormal event.
But can you ever get over something like that?
The goal is not to get over it. The goal is to understand it and integrate it into their life and to say, I've had that experience, but I'm not going to sacrifice all of my life and my well-being to that moment. I'm going to live and recover my life and live it to its full.
And Gary, can you tell us about some of the other potential impacts that something like this could have on someone who's gone through it? Ida mentioned guilt. There are other stories of people who have survived things like plane crashes, having a sense of a bizarre sense of invulnerability or purpose. There are other examples of obviously just terrible anxiety, not being able to go to certain places. What are some of the things that perhaps people could look out for?
It's almost the continuum of what is possible. If you imagine your emotional dimensions have been stretched beyond capacity, so whatever you thought was happy and sad, and then expanded that to the extreme notions of human comprehension, that's the experience of a critical incident or a disaster moment. So beyond that, then your capacity to look at life as it was has already altered. So that's where the sense of being or feeling invulnerable and feeling bulletproof is to say, I've survived that, I can survive anything. And your sense of value has altered. You may have seen the person next to you shot. So you're then saying, life doesn't matter. My sense of perspective and my sense of meaning has forever altered. So we need to then assist individuals regain their value set. We need to assist them focus on aspects of what was near and dear to them before that moment, and then obviously heading onwards in the days and weeks ahead.
You might change your whole life though, mightn't you? I mean, it's clearly life-changing.
Absolutely.
So you might think, none of these things are important anymore. I'm going down this path.
Yes, and I think we can all immediately generate where we were for 9/11 and our memories from that, and how we still continue those memories and the currency of them the minute we say the term 9/11. And regrettably, Sydney Siege is going to enter our lexicon as a critical moment, and we're going to carry that forward. It's what we do with that now and how we hold on to our values and the share a ride moment is to how we bring our community together to recover from this. The Prime Minister mentioned the words resilience. The notion of how you handle a critical incident or a disaster moment is the resources you bring into that moment, and then how you rely on those resources after that moment.
Dr. Gary Banks, will have to leave it there, but thank you very much for your insights this morning. We have to take a very quick break, but there's more of Studio 10 when we return.
Can I be